A ship as big as an aircraft carrier, bristling with aircraft and special operations teams, and able to operate for months without a port. On paper, the Expeditionary Sea Base looks like a dream target for any submarine captain. But what you do not see in the title is what makes attacking it practically a suicide mission. Behind its massive scale lies a legal tripwire, a massive crew, and a response so rapid that even the most advanced submarine might never escape the hunter's net. So why does a single torpedo turn the attacker into the world's most wanted target? A vessel measuring 785 feet from bow to stern, with a beam stretching 164 feet across the water, and a displacement near 90,000 tons, does not slip quietly through the world's oceans. The Expeditionary Sea Base, ESB, is built for endurance. Its diesel-electric propulsion pushes it to 15 knots, and with a range of 9,500 nautical miles, it can operate for months far from any friendly port. This is not a warship that needs a home. It is a mobile base, designed to anchor operations wherever the Navy requires a persistent presence. The ESB's mission is versatility at scale. Its flight deck supports 4 helicopters at once, heavy-lift H-53s, nimble H-60s, and even V-22 tilt rotors. Below decks, over 65,000 square feet of mission space can be packed with vehicles, containers, and gear for mine countermeasures, special operations, or crisis response. Command and control spaces knit together the work of dozens of specialized teams. Berthing for 250 military personnel, plus a core civilian crew from the Military Sealift Command, means the ship can surge to support up to 350 people, depending on the operation. The ESB's value is not just in its size or its reach, but in the way it enables the Navy to stay forward, launching helicopters, deploying unmanned systems, and staging special operations teams in places where no port exists and no pier is needed. It is a force multiplier, offering deck space and logistics muscle at a fraction of the cost of a traditional amphibious assault ship. That persistent presence makes it a magnet for attention, and a tempting target for adversaries who see its impact on operations. But the very qualities that make the ESB so useful also make it dangerous to attack. This is not a lone ship, isolated and vulnerable. Its presence signals that layered defenses are not far away. In the calculus of modern naval warfare, attacking an ESB is less about whether you can hit it, and more about whether you can survive the response. The risk is not theoretical. When a platform this valuable comes under threat, the defensive reaction is immediate and overwhelming. For any submarine commander weighing a torpedo shot, the odds of escaping what happens next are vanishingly slim. On August 17, 2017, a United States Navy ship made history at Khalifa bin Salman Port in Bahrain. The USS Louis B. Puller was formally commissioned into service, the first time a United States-built warship received its commission outside American territory. This decision was not a matter of convenience. For the United States Navy, it was a deliberate move to anchor its presence in a region where maritime security is never taken for granted. The Puller replaced the aging USS Ponce, stepping directly into the Fifth Fleet front line, where threats to shipping lanes and the risk of sudden escalation are always close at hand. The legal status of the Expeditionary Sea Base changed again in September 2019. That month, the Navy approved the reclassification of these ships from auxiliary vessels with the USNS prefix to fully commissioned warships bearing the USS title. This change was more than a bureaucratic update. Under the law of armed conflict, only commissioned warships can carry out certain high-risk missions, like mine countermeasures and special operations staging, without legal ambiguity. The reclassification gave commanders the authority and flexibility they needed to meet challenges in volatile regions, from the Strait of Hormuz to the Red Sea. The consequences of this status are clear. Attacking a ship like the USS Louis B. Puller is not simply a strike against a support vessel. It is an active war against a commissioned United States Navy warship, with all the diplomatic and military weight that carries. The Puller's permanent stationing in Bahrain, its ability to conduct repairs in theater, and its forward role in joint exercises with regional partners all reinforce its status as a critical node in United States maritime strategy. Any hostile action against such a ship carries the risk of immediate and far-reaching escalation, making it a far more dangerous proposition than targeting a standard logistics vessel. The Expeditionary Sea Base legal standing, anchored by the Puller's commissioning and the 2019 reclassification, raises the cost and the consequences for any adversary considering an attack. A submarine commander stalking an expeditionary sea base faces a sea that is anything but empty. The first sign of trouble often comes from above. The P-8 Poseidon, a maritime patrol aircraft, can scatter up to 129 sonobuoys across the water, each one tuned to catch the faintest trace of a submarine. These buoys turn wide stretches of ocean into a listening grid, feeding data back to operators who map every anomaly, every whisper of machinery, every unnatural sound. The crew inside the aircraft works in shifts, monitoring screens, triangulating positions, and relaying contacts to the force package below. But detection is only the beginning. Once a suspicious signal appears, the response moves quickly. MH-60R. Seahawk helicopters, stationed on the ESB or nearby escorts, are built for this moment. Their crews launch with little warning, flying out over the search area with a mission system that fuses dipping sonar, radar, and sonobuoy data in real time. The helicopter hovers, lowers its sonar, and listens for the telltale echo of a submerged hull. If the contact is real, the crew can drop their own sonobuoys, building a tighter net, or deploy a torpedo to prosecute the threat. This airborne layer compresses the timeline from suspicion to action. Helicopters can be on top of a contact in minutes, and their ability to hover and re-engage means a submarine cannot simply wait out the search. Every time the attacker tries to slip away, the grid reshapes and closes in. Meanwhile, the ESB's role as an aviation hub means these helicopters can cycle through refueling and rearming quickly, keeping the pressure constant. This is not a static defense. It is a dynamic hunt, with operators in the air and at sea working together to shrink the attacker's options. The doctrine behind these operations is clear. The goal is not just to detect, but to localize and prosecute any threat before it can escape. For a submarine that has revealed its position by firing a torpedo, the window to evade closes rapidly. The ocean, once a place to hide, becomes a trap lined with sensors and swift-moving hunters. A submarine captain who launches a torpedo at an expeditionary sea base does more than take a shot. He trades stealth for exposure. The moment a torpedo leaves its tube, the ocean's silence fractures. Acoustic signatures spike. Sensors across the water, airdropped sonobuoys, dipping sonars, passive arrays, begin to triangulate. What comes next is not a fair fight. The expeditionary sea base defenders do not rely on luck. They deploy technology designed to cut the odds against them, starting with ANSLQ-25 Nixie. This towed decoy trails hundreds of yards behind the ship, broadcasting artificial noise to lure incoming torpedoes away from their intended target. It works across multiple torpedo guidance types, forcing the attacker to wonder if their weapon will even find the hull. But the defense does not stop at deception. For years, the Navy has invested in hard kill systems, tools that do not just confuse a torpedo, but destroy it outright. The Surface Ship Torpedo Defense Program produced the Countermeasure Anti-Torpedo, CAT, and its successor, the Anti-Torpedo Torpedo, ATT. These interceptors, just 6.75 inches in diameter, are designed to launch at high speed and detonate against an incoming threat before it ever reaches the ship. While not every vessel is equipped with these systems, their development signals a shift. Survival no longer depends on hope, but on shrinking the attacker's margin for error down to seconds. For the attacker, the calculus changes. Modern submarines like the Yasen class are powerful: 10 533mm torpedo tubes, vertical launch silos, advanced sensors. But once a torpedo is fired, the submarine's greatest asset, its invisibility, disappears. The launch gives away position. The defender's response is immediate and layered: decoys in the water, interceptors on alert, helicopters closing in, destroyers sprinting to the scene. Every minute spent evading is a minute hunted by a network of forces trained to converge and prosecute. The ocean, once a shield, becomes a cage. In this environment, the odds of survival after firing are not just low, they collapse entirely. The submarine captain's decision to attack becomes, in effect, a decision to be found. Every commissioned warship at sea today is more than steel. It is a trigger for rapid, overwhelming response. In a world where escalation moves at sonar speed, the real risk is not the shot you take. It is surviving what comes next. What would you risk for one torpedo launch?